How do we open our eyes to see angels? Okay, well, there's that classic scripture that everyone quotes where, Elijah's surrounded by the Syrian army with his servant in 2 Kings 6. And the servant panics and says, wow, there's all these, soldiers, enemy soldiers surrounding us. We're doomed. And Elijah in verse 17 says this. He says, Lord, I pray that you open his eyes so that he may see. And then the Lord opened the young man's eyes, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around about Elisha. A lot of people have taught on this before. Here's the issue. How many of you prayed that prayer? God, open my spiritual eyes so I can see the angels, and it didn't work. Raise your hand. Wow, almost everybody in the room. Why is that? What's the deal? Because this scripture is not just referring to the Lord opening your spiritual eyes. It's also referring to him opening the eyes of your soul. The eyes are the windows to the soul. The word eyes there actually means spiritual faculties, but it also means this, ready? Mental faculties. Look it up in the Strong's, in the Hebrew. So it means spiritual and mental faculties. Where's the mental faculties? In your mind. What is your mind? It's part of your soul. You see, the soul is blocking the way for us to see in the realm. Our souls have been wounded. We've been through some stuff. The Bible talks about the soul getting wounded through traumatic events that we've lived through, deaths of a loved one, stressful situations and circumstances that we've had to deal with. The Bible talks about sins, wounding the soul, sins that we've committed in our lifetime, sins that people have committed against us, talking about us, abusing us, saying things, hurting us. The Bible talks about generational things, wounding the soul. When the soul gets wounded, it shuts down our ability to see in the supernatural realm. Does somebody have an Amplified Bible? I want to look at that real quick too, if somebody can bring that up. When our soul is wounded, it shuts down our ability to see in the supernatural realm. When your soul is wounded, your spirit man has to see through the filter of your soul. And it blocks you from seeing the unseen things. Okay? I want you to listen to the story I heard. This is a great story. From John Paul Jackson. John Paul Jackson, before he passed on to glory, told an amazing story about a man in his church that came to him and said, Pastor, I have my little son, and he's at that age where he has an imaginary friend, and he talks to him all the time, and I'm a little concerned. I asked him who his imaginary friend was, and he said it was an angel. But how do I know if that's really true? I am a little concerned. What do I do? So John Paul told him, why don't you try this? Next time he's talking to the angel, why don't you ask your son if you can ask the angel a question, and by the answer, you'll know if it's really an angel. Okay, so he said, okay. So sure enough, the man comes home one day, and he hears his son in his room talking to someone. So he goes in the room, and he says, oh, hi, how you doing? Are you talking to your friend, the angel? And he goes, yep. And he goes, oh, wow, that's awesome. I wonder if I can ask him a question. And he goes, I don't know. I guess so. And he goes, well, can you ask the angel why I can't see him? And he goes, okay. So he turns and he goes, my dad wants to know why he can't see you. And then he goes like this, yeah. Like he's listening to the angel, right? Talk to him. And then he turns around and he says you can't see him because your eyes have seen too much wickedness. See, the eyes are the windows to the soul. And when wickedness and evil and pain and traumas and everything else go into your soul, you become wounded so you can't see. And now this is from an angel saying this. So the father gets like, whoa, that's quite an answer. Then he goes like this. He goes, I want to ask him another question. Can you ask him to tell me if I'll ever be able to see him? And he goes, okay. And he turns around and he goes, my dad wants to know if he'll ever be able to see you. And then he goes, yeah, right? And then he turns around and he says, yes, but it might take a long time because your soul is wounded. Well, straight out of the horse's mouth. See, that's from an angel who would know. And he's saying the reason why many of us cannot see him is because our souls are wounded.